America's heart was ripped open at Utah Valley University, where Charlie Kirk, the 31-year-old firebrand of Turning Point, USA, was gunned down in a cold-blooded sniper attack at 12:20 p.m. Mountain Time. A single high-powered rifle shot tore through Kirk's neck from roughly 150 yards, from what appears to be a shooter on the Lost East Center building.
So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying? He just ran from, where's my finger? Whoa. From over there, ran in. Now he's right there.
A husband and father of two, a man who deeply loved a country that had rewarded him the providence his work deserved, was pronounced dead. There are reports that he died almost immediately after being shot. As the nation grieved, the Democrats feasted on the tragedy like a pack of hyenas.
Political violence, unfortunately, has been ratcheting up in this country, and I think there are people who are fomenting it in this country. I think the president's rhetoric often foments it.
The chair would ask that all members present in the chamber and those in the gallery please rise for a moment of prayer for Charlie Kirk and his family. Let's wait a minute. The House will be in order. Shh.
While many Americans immediately confronted the elephant in the room and pointed a finger at cowardly color revolution, radicalization, mind control operations like MSNBC, who before we even knew if Charlie had survived, painted Charlie as an existential threat, gaslighting the country into believing Kirk's rhetoric was responsible for his own death, when in fact it was their own rhetoric that got us here. A clear display of broadcasted domestic terrorism, which is defined as violent criminal acts committed by individuals and or groups to further ideological goals stemming from domestic influences, such as those of a political, religious, social, racial, or environmental nature.
He's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions.
And I know it's hard to predict the future, Mark, but you can imagine the administration using this as a justification for something.
Obviously, there's a lot of rhetoric that is problematic. A lot of it is coming from one particular side and from one particular building. But what can be done? I fear when this is an escalation already in less than 24 hours of this shooting.
Speaking of this tragedy, is this a moment for your party to reflect on political violence? Is it a moment for us to think about the responsibility of our political leaders and their voices and what it does to the masses as they get lost in misinformation, disinformation that turns in and spills into political violence?
I say both parties.
Only Republicans, only people inclined to consume conservative media are now, I think, upward of 50% say that if necessary, violence is okay. You've only got the conduct on one of the two sides.
The solution, Mr. President? Reinstate the Smith-Munn Act and enforce it. Obama's army of propagandists will fall. The shooter still remains at large after the initial suspect, who bizarrely declared "shoot me," was released, although authorities claim to have held another suspect. Were they just decoys to allow the real shooter to flee? And who is this person being arrested wearing black pants while a rifle is clearly confiscated? Stephen Crowder received an email from an ATF officer detailing a recovered older imported Mauser 30-06 bolt-action rifle wrapped in a towel in a nearby wooded area along the suspect's escape route, containing a spent cartridge and 3 unspent rounds engraved with transgender and anti-fascist messages. Kirk had reportedly been talking about transgender issues right before he was shot.
This morning I can tell you that we have recovered what we believe is the weapon that was used in yesterday's shooting. It is a high-powered bolt-action rifle. That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled.
Was this a solo fanatic radicalized by years of media-fueled hatred? Or did Kirk's words rattle the agents of foreign and/or domestic terror?
Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to say
to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order?
The stench of evil is thick. Kirk's death isn't just a tragedy. It's a warning shot to a nation fighting to reclaim its soul. Know this, liberty will never die, and the spirit of Charlie Kirk will now rise within millions of young Americans who will never forget the example he left to us all. John Bound reporting for InfoWars.
You were just telling me that you had a brain disease, and what did you do to fix it?
I found this guy's a functional medicine guy, and he got me on.
All right. Welcome to the show. We are here with this new system. I am going to get us on. We'll get us on here. See if I can get this thing to work right. All right. Here we are. Got me. All right. Welcome to the show. It's crazy, man. I've been doing research for several days on this whole thing, and we're going to get into it. It is September 13th, 2025, and I'm going to do the best I can. And before I even get started, let me just be clear about something. The information that I'm giving you right now is just information that I've put together through the internet, through different sources, internet, about all the different angles, possibilities of the Charlie Kirk shooting. There's lots of things going around saying there are a lot of different things, and it depends on who you believe. And one thing we know for sure, we can't believe anything that our government tells us. So when they say that it's this or that or the other thing, our best hope is that we could figure it out through sifting through tons and tons of information, because they just lie to us. We got our dogs with us tonight. They're going to hang out with us tonight, so you're going to see them in the background, because if I leave them outside tonight, they're partying around down the street, so they just bark. So they're in here with me. All right, so don't be distracted by the dogs. They don't bite. All right, so here we are. So I'm saying this for the simple fact that I don't want to make any assumptions yet. It's, we're in the first week. There's a lot of different things going on, tons of different scenarios and angles and shooters on the roof, shooters in the crowd. I mean, just, tons of stuff. We're going to clear some of that up tonight, because one is saying that the other one is, listen, we're gonna break it down the best I can, and we're gonna do our best. We're up to bat. We're gonna give our best here. Okay, so this hit me harder than this one hit a lot of people very, very hard. The Charlie Kirk thing. And listen, my fake beer. I don't know. It sounds like through all the investigative work that I've done and all, it's really shown me that that Charlie had kind of veered from being a Israel can't do no wrong, to really going, hey, we need to look at Israel, and we need to look at this, and we need to take it, we need to ask questions, right? And so that's one angle of this. I'm not saying that Israel killed Charlie Kirk or Mossad, or I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that is true. That is correct. That did happen. That has been something that I have uncovered, a lot of us have uncovered in the last few days. And there's a very big possibility that could be that or something else. Now, it's also trans shooter. We know that there's a trans shooter epidemic going on right now, where and they're going after conservatives or God-fearing Christians, and we know this. We know this is real. We also know this is a wind-up from MK Ultra, and CIA and the deep state. We know this. We know this is Obama. We know that this is where this whole thing came from back in 20, 13, 14, 12, whatever. We know this. All this stuff came from the Obama administration, the 2 terms that Obama was in, and we've seen the racism, we've seen the transgender, we've seen all the different things that's happened along the way during the last 10, 15 years. We know this. Okay. So it's not a secret. We know that 9/11 was, a setup. We know that, we know all this stuff. And we know Israel had a part of it. We know that the Las Vegas shooting, that we never really got to the bottom of it. And when we did get the information to go to the right, go in the right direction to get it to the right people in the, FBI or whoever, they didn't even look at it, and they went with what they went with was the guy was a lone gunman in a hotel, and he had he had killed all those people from one room, but yet we know that there was several windows blown out and there was a helicopter in the air. We know all this. We've done the investigation. We know that Butler, the shooting in Butler was multiple. We've covered it. Multiple shooters, at least 2 for sure, and there's a possibility that the person that they said, the shooter that they said Crooks, probably didn't even fire a shot. We know all this stuff, so we know that we can't trust the FBI. We know we can't believe anything we hear. We know that if we don't see it for ourselves and we don't check to see if there's a mirror that's giving it, because it's always smoke and mirrors. It's always they show you this while they're doing something over there. They've done this for years. We know this. We're on to their bullshit. And so anytime we get any information at all, we have to question it, question everything. And then we make a decision based on the information that we question. And that's usually how we come to an understanding of like, what the fuck happened, right? We know this. So with all that said, we're going to get into this tonight. I have a ton of clips. It's going to be very clip heavy. We're going to look at different angles. We're going to really get into it. I think I'm going to go with the more conspiracy driven clips first, and then we're going to go with the more probable, we're just going to go like that. So we're going to get rid of some doubt. There's somebody saying that there's a person sitting directly or standing directly to Charlie's right that shot Charlie under his armpit. We've found that to be false. We've looked at it every angle. And then we also seen that when Charlie was shot, how he was one of the first ones to grab Charlie off the ground and get him hauled off. He was one of Charlie's staff, and from the angles, not from what we see, because it looks like he was like this. It does. It looks that way. But then when you see another angle of another camera where somebody else is saying that, no, this other person shot him and this is the angle, then we see how he didn't have his hand under there and that he was in the prone position because he was one of Kirk's guards, right? So, we're going to clear that up tonight, hopefully. Maybe. Hey, we might have a ton of information and still come out with the same thing. I was just online talking about it. I'm like, I've spent 2 or 3 days looking at every angle of this, and I'm just as confused as I was when I started, because you can't believe anything you hear. And my dad used to always say, believe none of what you hear and half what you see. And even looking at it, you don't know if there's a two-way mirror, right? We just don't know. So we're going to just dig into it, and we're going to do this over the next few weeks until we get to, because the experts, the real experts, not the internet experts like me, but the real experts are going to come out eventually, and they're going to dissect this, and we're going to get the truth, right? But it takes time, and I'm sure lots of people are doing lots of investigations and all that stuff right now. We know that. We know this is what they do. When they get on it, and they'll spend weeks and weeks and weeks figuring it all out, looking at all the angles, and then, they get their board all pinned up, and then they figure out what happened. So we're going to wait for that. But in the meantime, we're going to show you what we got, because there's a lot of, man, you go on the internet, man, there's every fucking angle possible, right? So it's crazy. Before we do, I want to say, please subscribe to the channel. Share this information everywhere. Open source. You're welcome to do anything you want to with all the information, all my videos on Twitter, on X, Rumble, Getter, and we have a new YouTube channel, Inspector Web. If you want, we do appreciate it though if you would, because listen, we really, the only way to get the word out in this era of media now is by word of mouth. And if people there's so many people doing the kind of stuff that I do, which is basically geopolitics and investigative work, that it floods the airwaves. Unless somebody don't say, hey, go check out Inspector Webb, he might have some good information tonight. Then that's how people find out who you are now, because if you're trying to find something, there's 50 videos in front of yours. So anyway, please subscribe to the channel. Really do appreciate it. We really do appreciate that that you support us any way you can. All right. This screen is driving me fucking crazy. I'm gonna see if I can fix the mode real quick. Just 1 second. Let's see. Oh, I did it. It's way better. I had double screens as make me cross-eyed. It's bad enough that I can barely see. All right. Yeah, see, I don't like that. So we're just gonna go with this. Yeah, we're just gonna go with this. It looks like we're just gonna go with this guy. That's a previous clip. Okay, so we're just gonna roll with this. It's supposed to be right here. There it is. Okay, got it. All right, here we go. Now, as I was saying before, I have a ton of stuff. Before we even get started, I want to play this clip from Erica. She had yesterday, or I guess it was Friday night or whenever it was. She came out and did a little mini press conference, and I pulled the nuts and bolts from it out. You've probably seen it. A lot of people probably already seen it, but for some of you that haven't seen it, we're going to play that for you right now just to get started. Now, I have a new system, and I don't have my editor or my producer here, so we're going to be doing this on the fly. So please bear with me. I'll do the best I can, but I thought that this information was just too much to not do a show because I don't have my producer. And by the way, I was going to do a show last night, and I had no video. And so I just kept doing research. I did research till 2 a.m. just so I had everything that I needed. I over prepped for this, and you can never get to all the stuff that you do, but we're going to do our best. So anyway, my person, the one that does my computer work, IT guy, he fixed it, and we're on a different system now because the other one, for whatever reason, I don't know. I'm not a computer guy, obviously. If you've watched my show for any length of time, we've had every kind of possible hiccup along the way, and we're just going to work out the bugs. We're going to keep going. Okay. All right. Where we at?
Our battle is not simply a political one. Above all, it is spiritual. It is spiritual. The spiritual warfare is palpable. Charlie loved his Savior with all of his heart, and he wanted every one of you to know him too. He wanted everyone to know that if they confess the Lord Jesus Christ who rose from the dead, then they will be saved. Hear me when I say this, nobody is ever too young to know the gospel. Nobody. Nobody is ever too young to get involved with saving this beautiful country, this country my husband loved and still loves. And nobody is ever too old either. There's no age limit. I know my husband is still here. He's watching over us. I don't remember the last time I slept. I couldn't sleep last night. And Charlie, baby. Charlie, I promise I will never let your legacy die, baby. I won't. I promise I'll make Turning Point USA the biggest thing that this nation has ever seen. I promise. Charlie, I love you, baby. Rest in the arms of our Lord as he blankets you with the words I know your heart always strived to hear. Well done, my good and faithful servant. When I got home last night,
All right, here we are.
Gigi, our daughter, just ran into my arms. And I talked to her and she said, Mommy, I missed you. I said, I miss you too, baby. She goes, where's Daddy? What do you tell a 3-year-old? She's 3. I said, baby, Daddy loves you so much. Don't you worry. He's on a work trip with Jesus, so he can afford your blueberry budget. And my goodness, am I so humbled to witness, Charlie, you alongside Jesus right now, doing what you always want to do, baby. Making heaven crowded, right? That's what it's all about. Making heaven crowded. I can't wait to see you again one day. Thank you all again who love my husband, who supported him, who wrote him an email every single day during his radio show. He read all of them. All of them. God bless you all.
Move.
And may God bless America.
All right. Let me figure out what's going on here. Just give me a second. Yeah, so that's very touching. It's very heartfelt. It's very it really does I mean, when you think about it, what she's going through's got to be very difficult, you know what I mean? So I was saying, I want to say something real quick. I meant to say earlier. Um, this one hit pretty hard. I didn't know Charlie, but just the kind of person that he was and how close he was to Jesus, and how he practiced his faith at all his events, and how he when he every time when he was on his radio show or whatever, he talked about Jesus, he talked about forgiveness and repentance and all that stuff, and it hit me hard. So I'm gonna say it hit me really hard. All right, so where do we start? We're gonna start right here. We're gonna do this. There's a lot of coincidences, right? So we're just gonna. I don't believe in coincidences, but we're gonna get into it right now. We are going to get into this right now. Oh, you motherfucker! Stand by. Let's start right here.
Charlie Kirk is shot in the neck from 200 yards away, right in the jugular vein. And as people are running away, the police somehow find this guy who was a patsy. He faked the whole thing to divert attention from the real shooter on the rooftop 200 yards away. Then we find out that the shooter managed to escape without a trace. No security camera footage. No one saw him on the campus. Moments after, though, the shooting takes place, you have Benjamin Netanyahu who comes out and tweets about this before anyone else, before Trump even, the personal friend of Charlie Kirk. Then a few moments later, you have Benjamin Netanyahu come out and say that I was speaking to Charlie Kirk 2 weeks ago. I invited him to Israel. What? You invited him to Israel after he was saying all these things about Mossad, about Gaza, about Iran, and he was getting all this flack for having Tucker Carlson and Dave Smith speak at TPUSA. All of your Hasbara agents were attacking Charlie Kirk, and you decided to stop your schedule, bombing 7 countries in the middle of this political crisis in your country, to have a conversation with Charlie Kirk, call him and say that he needs to come to Israel to kiss the wall again. And presumably he said no. Am I missing something? Because a lot of the Israelis and their Hasbara agents online are saying, you can't talk about that. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're just trying to tie everything to Israel. No, this is a political assassination of one of the most famous political commentators in the country. I'm allowed to ask questions about whatever I want. I'm allowed to say whatever I want. Do I think it's interesting that JFK's shooter was never found? RFK's shooter was never found? Princess Diana's murder was covered up? The 9/11 story was obviously covered up? Do I think it's interesting that the Epstein list was never released? Well, I think it's interesting that this is all happening right now and the shooter's still not found. Yes, I do. And I'm going to keep asking questions.
Wait, so there was no secret conspiracy on Discord? The FBI lied yet again? Check this out. Now, this really gets weird because we know that TMZ is owned by them and is a complete Israeli shill platform. So, Charlie Kirk, Discord says platform is not used in suspect's murder plan. Then it goes on. Discord was not used by Tyler Robinson to either plan the murder of Charlie Kirk or hide the evidence, TMZ has learned. A Discord spokesperson tells TMZ, in the course of our investigation, we identified a Discord account associated with the suspect. Communications between the suspect's roommate and a friend after the shooting, where the roommate was recounting the content of a note the suspect had left elsewhere. Authorities say Robinson's roommate showed them Robinson had made a joke on Discord and then showed investigators the message, which included Tyler a need to retrieve the rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, and a message referring to the rifle wrapped in a towel. Discord seems to be saying these communications were not on the platform, rather on a note that Robinson had written off the site to his roommate. By the way, Discord said that they removed his account. But it gets even weirder. So if we take a look over here at MAGA Brittany, she says, attention FBI, we want to know how Tyler Robinson, who did not attend Utah Valley University and lived nearly 4 hours away from the campus, was able to plan and execute the assassination of Charlie Kirk. How did he know where to set up his shop? How was he able to get in and out without being seen immediately and apprehended? Is there any evidence of being on campus within days, weeks, months of the assassination? Is there any evidence of him being on campus on UVU on June 17, 2025, while at the university was conducting a bomb threat exercise? And then he goes on to say, and then she put a map of the university to his house, which is like a 4-hour drive. So you mean to tell me that we're supposed to believe that this kid was allegedly using Discord and there was this big conspiracy, but really there was no conspiracy. And now the conspiracy is over because the FBI has a friend that allegedly wrote a note, or Tyler allegedly wrote a note about this? Wait.
I'm going to start it
so
over because I think
no
you missed
secret
some with my
conspiracy on
screen
Discord?
drop.
The FBI lied yet again? Check this out. Now, this really gets weird because we know that TMZ is owned by them and is a complete Israeli shill platform. So, Charlie Kirk, Discord says platform is not used in suspect's murder plan. Then it goes on. Discord was not used by Tyler Robinson to either plan the murder of Charlie Kirk or hide the evidence, TMZ has learned. A Discord spokesperson tells TMZ, in the course of our investigation, we identified a Discord account associated with the suspect, but have found no evidence that the suspect planned the incident or promoted violence on Discord. The statement goes on. The message referenced in recent reporting about planning details do not appear to be a Discord message. These communications between the suspect's roommate and a friend after the shooting where the roommate was recounting the content of a note the suspect had left elsewhere. Authorities say Robinson's roommate showed them Robinson had made a joke on Discord and then showed investigators the message, which included Tyler stating a need to retrieve the rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. Discord seems to be saying these communications were not on the platform, rather on a note that Robinson had written off the site to his roommate. By the way, Discord said that they removed his account. But it gets even weirder. So if we take a look over here at MAGA Brittany, she says, attention FBI, we want to know how Tyler Robinson, who did not attend Utah Valley University and lived nearly 4 hours away from the campus, was able to plan and execute the assassination of Charlie Kirk. How did he know where to set up his shot? How was he able to get in and out without being seen immediately and apprehended? Is there any evidence of being on campus within days, weeks, months of the assassination? Is there any evidence of him being on campus on UVU on June 17, 2025, while at the university was conducting a bomb threat exercise? And then he goes on to say, and then she put a map of the university to his house, which is like a 4-hour drive. So you mean to tell me that we're supposed to believe that this kid was allegedly using Discord and there was this big conspiracy, but really there was no conspiracy. And now the conspiracy is over because the FBI has a friend that allegedly wrote a note, or Tyler allegedly wrote a note about this plan that he sent to a friend. And it just so happened to include details about a gun left in a towel, which we can't figure out how he got off the roof with the gun, because we've seen him walking with the gun and it was in his pant leg, allegedly, with a giant scope on it, which I guess probably wouldn't fit in a pant leg, but we'll forget all about that and pretend like it was in the pant leg. But then he's in a certain outfit that the FBI released photos of. He climbs onto the roof and then takes clothes out of his backpack, changes into those clothes, assassinates Charlie Kirk, changes back out of those clothes, and then magically puts those clothes in a backpack, jumps off the roof with the rifle in his pants, and then magically runs away with the rifle in his pants. But if you watch the video of him running before or walking, he couldn't run with that. It was all the way up. It would have been all the way up to his waistband. And something ain't adding up. But we got another video that you guys are going to want to check out after this.
Yeah, before I show that other video, just want to, you hear what they're saying, right? You can't believe anything you hear, half of what you see. And we know that all those previous events were fraudulent. I mean, they lied to us about everything. And they think that we're too stupid, or we're too naive, or we wouldn't be able to handle the truth if they told us the truth. So they just lie to us and continue to lie to us, and then they continue to foment the lie to make sure that that, and then they run it through the media, and the media completes the lie, and they just keep going around and around and around with this lie, because they think that we're too stupid or too weak to be able to handle the truth, right? And so they've done this over and over and over. So anytime we get any information from any of these, any of the administration, or whatever you want to call them, the really deep state players, we can't trust it. So we don't trust it. So then we do our own investigation. And then when we do our own investigation, 9 times out of 10, we find out that what the fuck they said was a lie, because we're not stupid. We're just not. And so here we are, a few days in. There's this kid that's 22 years old, involved with got a trans partner and living with some whatever, right? This whole thing, we're gonna get into it, but we have all this big old thing going on, but yet the things that are going on along the way, it's like the bouncing ball keeps missing, because it just, none of it adds up. And so we're going to work our way through this tonight, and hopefully we can get to the other side of some of this stuff. But let's listen to Ryan Matta about that video that he was talking about right now. Let's play this other video that he said he had another video that you had to see. It's about the cameras. Okay.
I just tracked down the internal documents from Utah Valley University that shows the exact type of security cameras that were used, and we got a lot of questions. You're going to want to see this. This is their own internal document showing us the roof access point and exactly how the cameras were mounted at the university where Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So the first thing I want to point out, it's Utah Valley University. This is their telecommunication distribution guide of June 1st of 2022. So this is when they last were updating and installing new security cameras. So the Utah Valley University telecommunication distribution guide of June 1st of 2022. If you go through this document, it talks about how they're actually adding new cables and they're going to be adding cameras at specific areas all throughout the school. So basically, you should have at least some security footage at this school from newer camera models from at least 2022, but how many? So we want to talk about how many cameras are on these universities or college campuses. And I just kind of took an average over here so we can see St. John's University based off the amount of kids that we have at campus, based off the amount of cameras. So anytime a university has roughly over 30,000 students, you're looking at least over 15, if not 1,800 cameras. And then I go, well, how about Utah? Well, Utah Valley University is one of the only ones where I couldn't get an accurate number of cameras, but they have 45,000 students. So if you have a university that has 45,000 students, you would think that you would have roughly over 2,000. But I asked Grok, and Grok for some reason says, well, 500 to 70 is the estimate or 500 to 700 because we don't have an accurate number. Okay, so now we're going to talk about this other campus of theirs. So this is at the Utah Valley University, the Wasatch campus. So this is going to give us an idea of how these cameras were set up, just so everybody has an idea. And I got to zoom in really quick here, so I'm just going to kind of hold the camera back here a little bit. A complete video surveillance system shall be provided. An Arlington-specific system will be provided with local recordings. The CCTV system includes controls for visual monitoring of building perimeters, all building entry points, exit points at select main buildings, thoroughface, elevator lobbies, and at select sensitive interior areas. High megapixel cameras will monitor exterior areas, including the building's perimeter. Fixed megapixel cameras will monitor designated locations inside the building. Cameras will be installed in appropriately rated enclosures. Signals from the cameras will be connected to a central switching, a multiplexing system with a minimum 21-inch video monitor for viewing. All camera images will be digitally recorded by NVRs that are local area network accessible. Additionally, cameras will be capable of being monitored and controlled at remote locations via the LAN. Provide NVR with 50% spare channels. Cameras shall be fixed with 1080p HD IP cameras, and this is attached to a meeting date of 8/6/2024. So this leaves us with a lot more questions. For example, what is the FBI hiding? We have the opportunity as citizens to come together as a collective and really hunt and find down this bad guy. But we want to know, how did he leave the campus? How did he leave the parking lot? Why are we not getting the video surveillance footage which could help us identify this guy? They have 1080p HD cameras that were surveilling this man on probably multiple different locations throughout that campus. So if this is the guy that they claim was on the roof, then we should 100% have video surveillance of the man leaving the roof. Check this out. This is their own internal document showing us the roof access point and exactly how the cameras were mounted at the university where Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So at that campus, that shooter could have not been on the roof without being within 20 or 30 feet of a 1080p HD surveillance camera that was most likely installed between 2022 and 2024.
Okay. And so why are they removing cameras? Stand by. Check this out. Pay close attention to the screen.
Safety team is here. I just heard them say the active shooter, Charlie Kirk, has been shot. Charlie Kirk got hit, is what the security details just said.
Which one, sir? Now, I'm sure that's Charlie Kirk's camera, but why are they removing it right now? It makes no sense to me. So it makes little or no sense to me at all why that is going on. So I just wanted to put that get that camera thing in there because there's some stuff going on. And I don't understand why they're removing cameras when they're doing an investigation. Charlie's been shot like within an hour, and they're removing cameras and evidence, right? And that one right there shows that whole area that we're going to talk about right now in a minute, because there is some, I don't want to call them conspiracies. We're going to try and do our best to stay away from the conspiracy part of this, but now they're saying a few different things on the internet, and we're just going to kind of see if we can clear it up. And I was talking to Ryan earlier to see if I could get the information that he had, because they're all doing these investigations about all this stuff, and they're talking about some stuff. They're talking about Mossad, they're Israel, and all that stuff. And I'm not into that whole thing, but if that's the path that it leads us, when we get to the other side of this, then we'll go down that path. But right now, I'm trying to stay in the middle so I don't get I don't want to get in, blind. Find a blind spot that I end up in. You know what I mean? Because if I stay in one direction, then I start heading in one direction, I might miss something. Remember I was telling you about they're waving at you over here while they're doing something over here, right? So we're just going to do our best to stay in the middle and kind of see where all the different angles, and that's what we're doing right now. We're just looking at all the different angles of all the camera angles, or different videos that we come up with around this whole thing, so we can get a clear view, and then maybe we can make like I said, I was still confused when I did all this homework. So let's see if we can together, and you can hit me up in the comments. I'd love to have a conversation with you about it for sure, about this. But we know that they have these 1080p really good quality cameras, but yet the camera view that we got from the shooter coming out of the stairwell was so grainy that it was like you could barely even make out a real image, right? And so it tells me exactly what he's saying. What are they hiding from us? Because we have to, at this point, we have to always say, we have to always look at it in a way of like, what are they hiding from us? Because they continue to do the Americans are too stupid to understand what we're doing here. And if it's an investigation and they're doing internal investigations and they're really doing great work, that's awesome. Maybe this whole thing is getting worked out, and we're just out here looking at all the different angles, and they're inside looking at the same angles or whatever. We'll see. But we know what happens. Oh, we got a kid that admitted to shooting it. The dad brought him to the sheriff's department. We arrested him at 10:30, and we booked him in the county jail at 2 a.m. and we're charging him for capital murder. I mean, and boom, closed case, moving on. No, what if this is something else, and the FBI just does their lazy job, which this shouldn't even really be an FBI situation, because if you think about it, think about this. We have a shooting at a college, and the sheriff is out there. They're doing an investigation, and the FBI comes in because Charlie Kirk is some media figure. Still haven't figured out why it's an FBI thing. And then you have shit, I lost my train of thought. If you got to go, dude, I'm on. Go. I'm online. Go. We're being invaded by kids and dogs. All right. I lost my whole train of thought. I'll think of it in a second. We'll get back to it. I'm gonna do. So we did that. Stand by.
Le sacrifice de Charlie Kirk est un rituel codé après une lune de sang. Et la veille du 11 septembre, qui est 33 jours avant son...
You believe that the Jews run the American government.
That's not a secret, Charlie. Israel did 9/11, Charlie.
Oh, they did. Wow.
Why are we in the middle? I served.
Explain
Why were we in
that.
the Middle East?
You can reject involvement in the Middle East without also believing Israel did 9/11. So if Israel did 9/11, help me understand this. Who were the hijackers of the planes?
They weren't hijackers.
Oh, okay.
CIA and Israel worked together.
No. Explain to me what happened on the aircraft.
Okay, first off, what we have to understand, there's only one plane that actually crashed.
No,
okay,
there were three.
No, the building's imploded.
Okay,
if a
so
plane's going to hit a building, why would the building fall down?
Time out. Flight 93, did it exist?
Flight 93 existed, yes.
Okay, so who tried to hijack that plane?
They sacrificed those people to make it look like Bush was targeted because they wanted to cover up Bush's involvement. He just happened to be in Texas reading a book to elementary kids, and they were reading a sign on a whiteboard.
Let me say
that talks about towers falling, Charlie. We have been lied to since the beginning of this country. Jews, Freemasons, all of it's a satanic agenda. Israel is the synagogue of Satan. They're killing innocent people in Palestine over the guise of sovereignty. New World Order is coming, Charlie.
Guys, anti-Semitism is literally a brain cancer, as you could see.
How is this anti-Semitic, Charlie?
Okay. Explain to me, Flight 93, who was the hijacker?
They didn't have real hijackers, Charlie. They were plants.
Okay. So they got the black box. Of course, it was all just like a conspiracy.
Just like they found the passport miraculously 2 miles down from the crash site in
I'm sorry,
New York.
what?
They just happened to find one of the hijackers' passports laying on the ground 2 miles away from the crash site in New York. It just happened to be there. They just walked up and found it. They just randomly happened to find a perfectly good passport.
With that piece
Look
of
it
data.
up. Look, World War II was fought not over what everyone thought it was fought of. Every war is fought by. It is funded by the rich, the Rockefellers, all the rich, the Rothschilds.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
They funded all those.
Was Hitler bad?
I think Hitler was bad. Yes, Hitler was bad. Yes. But did the Holocaust happen? The Holocaust did happen.
How many people died?
Not 6 million.
How many?
It was not 6 million.
How many?
I don't have an exact number, Charlie. I don't have an exact number. It wasn't.
Okay, but
6
you said
million.
it's not 6 million. You must have an alternative. How do you know it's not 6 million?
Because there wasn't even 6 million Jews in Germany.
Okay, well, I mean, you tell me. You're the expert.
The reason why Jews have been run out of 109 countries throughout history is because every time they get into a country, they try and take it over. In Nazi Germany, again, they are having transgender surgeries, underground transgender surgeries. They're promoting homosexuality in schools.
And Jewish donors, they have a lot of explaining to do, a lot of decoupling to do, because Jewish donors have been the number one funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. And it's not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it. It's like time for you guys to wake up and say no more. Draw a line in the sand. I don't care if you hate me.
So this is what happened. Okay, so recently that clip is from a few weeks ago, and that person that was at my military veteran lays it out. What we already know, people that pay attention to what the truth about what all these different things that happened. 9/11, all the stuff, right? And then Charlie, now time has passed. He finds out. He starts talking about it. Remember, he's been an Israel, supporter and all that stuff for years and years, right? And now he's seeing the truth. Which, whether it's, one way or the other, again, we're staying in the middle. We're looking at both sides, all different angles. That's what we're doing. And I'm just showing you these things here, and we're going to move on to the other stuff. The stuff that might be a little more feasible, we'll see when we get there. But I don't know. You be the judge. You tell me in the comments. Anyway, so Charlie's like talking about Israel. 2 days before he's killed, he's talking to Ben Shapiro, and he's like, hey, similar to this right here, this clip that we just played, Israel has some answering. We have questions, right? So that's why the whole thing around Israel, Mossad and all that stuff is probable, right? I'm not saying it is what it is. I'm just saying it's probable because Charlie has made, a drastic switch. They Netanyahu tried to pay him off or, get him to let to try to get Charlie to take money from Netanyahu to support TPUSA or whatever, his foundation, whatever. And Charlie said, no, this was recently. Okay. So all these things that are happening make sense in the big scheme of things, right? So we got to look at all the angles, right? We got to look at everything. We can't stay looking at one. We just got to kind of look around. So We're just going to look at a few angles as we go here. I'm just breaking it all down. You be the judge. You make your own decisions. We're not making decisions for you here today. We're just giving you the information. Okay. So it's going to get a little spicy. Okay. I kind of start us off a little slow so you get warmed up. It's kind of like when you work out. You don't just jump in and hit 3-4 wheels. You kind of start slow, get warmed up. So we're just getting warmed up here. Okay? All right. Here we go. Gotta pay attention. Jerusalem Post. First one to put a report on it. Pepsi. Yep. So when you look at this and you look at all the different angles here, stuff starts to look a little bit different when you just from a perspective of like, hey, we're looking at all the different angles here to see what could be probabilities because we know that Israel kills people. We know that. And I'm not saying that this is what's going on, just saying that we know this is a thing. We understand this. We've been very well aware of all the different things with all the stuff that's going on. And when you start coming out against Israel, period, they come after you. We know that. We know that they've taken down lots of people. Well, I mean, we could go through the list, but it's irrelevant right now for what we're doing. But just looking at all the angles, that's all we're doing here. We're not now. Let's get into this here. Let me show you something. Let me show you this stuff right here. There's some in that last clip. There's a brief picture of the guy doing hand gestures just before Charlie gets shot, and he's touching his hat, and all these signals and stuff like that. And we're going to look at this right now. We've got a couple clips we're going to play that kind of breaks it. It just kind of shows you what they were looking at, why they're saying that. Who's the dude in the white? Two people in white shirts, and what are they? Why are they giving? They're doing signals, and then Charlie gets shot, right? And there's some debate on if Charlie got shot in the chest, if he got shot straight in the neck, but his shirt goes like this, tells me that he got hit in the plate in his chest plate because he's got bulletproof vest on, his plate carrier, and then it shot him in the neck. That's the most obvious thing. I don't know. I'm not an expert on ballistics, but or people being shot and all that stuff. But I'm just looking at all the angles. We're just kind of breaking it down for you to make your own decision. Stand by.
Those of us who served in the military are a little bit aware of hand signals being thrown up. And these two men need to really be looked into with some of the sniper looking signals, especially coming from the guy in the white and the guy in the black.
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Now that guy is security. Charlie's main
over the last 10 years.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Now I don't know for sure, but from my investigation work, and we're going to play the clip right now, that's Charlie's main, security. He's with him everywhere. So I don't know about those. Maybe those are, I don't know for sure. But the dude in the white definitely was making, he's filming. Nobody knows who he is. And I'm going to back that up right now with this clip right here. Stand by.
Video that is coming out now. It's an angle from Charlie's left that shows the brutal sight, but on the other side of him, it looks like there are students that are wearing a white shirt and a white hat that are making some type of signs. There's someone that's adjusting his hat like this, but he's not pulling it down or moving it. It was almost like a baseball sign, as you can see right there. And then the white shirt in the background does this motion right before Charlie is shot, which almost looks like an indicator for the shooter to go ahead and take the kill shot, because this looks like a very orchestrated and well out planned hit on Charlie Kirk. And as you can see on the video, it just looks very suspect. And it looks like there might be something more to this of coordination with those individuals.
I was just about.
Looks like Dexter. When I saw that.
I was just about to ask you about those guys, so I'm glad you brought that up. In your experience with Charlie, because it looks like one of the individuals might have been a part of his security detail. Did you know these individuals? How long did the security detail? The 6 individuals that carried Charlie to the SUV after he was shot. Were they with him for a long time? Do you know any information about his security detail, or those people might be behind him?
So the guy in the black shirt is always with Charlie. He's like his right-hand man when it comes to securing Charlie in the tent. But I had never seen this person with the white hat before at any other events. It might be a student that goes to Utah Valley University. He was videoing, and we still haven't seen the video from that angle on his phone, which kind of begs the question, is this person staying incognito? And then I've seen another angle of the.
I mean, Carson, hold on.
What he just said was important. The guy giving the hand signals is his main guy.
No. It's the guy with the black shirt.
Black shirt is his main guy, but that black shirt guy does give some kind of strange signals. So is it possible?
Oh, as well.
He does.
Yeah.
So if that is his closest guy, what were those signals? Did he have a fly on him? Did somebody ask what that was about?
I know it's a very interesting question. I'm sure the police are looking into it right now. Hopefully they're analyzing this video and those individuals. I believe it might be another sign for some type of security. But it's really interesting that those signs that he's making is also coinciding with what's going on with those 2 other white shirts in the background. It's just all very interesting.
I just want to keep this video up if you can, Philip, because this is inside of that security gate. There's a gate around where you have his security in a black shirt, and then you have this individual in a white shirt making these weird hand gestures behind the security gate, almost like adjacent, right next to his security guard. So if we don't know who this guy is, how in the world is he right behind Charlie Kirk inside of a fenced area? Obviously, we don't have the answers to that, but this is just one of the mysteries we're going to continue to look into.
May I ask a question? At the events that you've gone to that are in this fashion, was he scared? I'm sure he was threatened all the time. Was it just something he lived with?
So when he came to Arizona State University, we were helping him throw out hats and him to go talk with the students. And It was almost like a happy place for Charlie to be behind the tent and then out walking with the crowd. He was just exceptionally happy to be there and interact with the students. And he's someone who always just came with a smile, right? This was his like most comfortable place out of any place that he could be. And when we'd walk out into the crowd with people, he would be getting mobbed by people asking to take his picture, saying he's a huge inspiration to them. And one time I was in the crowd with him and he leaned down to me and he said, "Isn't this awesome?" And just had the biggest grin on his face. So I think absolutely he knew the risk about doing these style of events. But I think for his message to resonate with especially the younger generation and have that accessibility to him, he knew it was necessary to continue his message.
And we
Yeah, so the hand gesture thing is kind of got me thrown for like unless his security is giving message to the other security, because in the shoot when they do the shooting or when they run to him, you could see who the security guard or who his security is, because they run to his aid right away, right after Charlie falls over, right? But so there's the dude on the right hand side, next to, let's see, on the right hand side from Charlie, there's a dude. He's there. He's got a hat on, and they're saying that he's the shooter. There's another angle. There's just another angle, and so I'm gonna play this clip, and then I played it in HD over and over and over in 4K to see if I could see a gun, but it looks like something. But then when I talk to I have some specialists that I talk with, they're like, no, because there's too many things. One, that shot's impossible. No. There's too many. The shot's almost. It's too just go. Too impossible. Too impossible of a shot. So let me just show you this clip. Stand by.
Right there.
Right here. Now watch this. See that?
Right there.
It's gonna play again.
Right there. Watch the shooter. That's a shooter. Right there.
His shirt went up and everything.
Yep.
Side. I knew it was a side shot. I knew it wasn't straight on.
Now it's in slow motion, so.
Right there. Right there. Watch the shooter. That's a shooter. Right there.
His shirt went up and everything.
Yep.
Side. I knew it was a side shot. I knew it wasn't straight on.
Right there. Right there. Right there. Watch the shooter. That's a shooter. Right there.
His shirt went up and everything.
Yep.
Side. I knew it was a side shot. I knew it wasn't straight on.
Okay. So I show you that, and I spent a lot of time looking at that. It's kind of grainy, of course. It's probably somebody's cell phone. And I was like, could that be? So I sent some messages out and we did some stuff around it to see if we could figure it out, and my special force buddy's like, well, one, the guy, unless he's got a camera that he could see what's going on over there, it's almost an impossible shot from sideways, from almost behind you. Not impossible, right? It's not completely impossible, but we've been told that the shooter is on the roof 200 yards away. That's what we've been told. And and they found the gun in the woods and all that stuff. That's what we've been told. We're going to get to that shortly. But this scenario is like, one of his security is given signals. Another person that nobody knows who he is, in all white, is given signals. The guy on the other side of the barricades is given signals, right? I don't know if you've seen that, but there's two people in white giving signals. and the person in black giving signals who's supposed to be Charlie's right-hand man. And then there's this older dude that's right to the right of Charlie, possibly with his arm under like this, shooting back almost behind him, right? So we went around about this, and I asked some people, and they're like, "Yeah, that's almost an impossible shot." And there'd be spent casing on the ground. There's just so many things. Unless he had like a single shot, um, you know, uh, I mean, it's possible, but there's so many things. How do you have a silencer on something that only has one shot in it? It'd have to be some kind of a zip gun. And then I came across this other one, and I was like, oh, well, what is this? And then I spent a bunch of time on this next clip to see if I could dissect it. And what I see in that, and we'll go over it right now, is the person that supposedly took the shot runs straight to his aid. So we're just gonna do this, and you tell me what you think. This is like a cell phone shooter, like a zip gun. Stand by.
The person that shot Charlie, right here, with the white T-shirt and what seems to be a cell phone and perhaps keys on his hands. This explains also why he went sideways when he got shot. He wasn't shot from a long distance. It was a high-powered rifle, which, by the way, that's what the FBI is telling everyone. And when the FBI tells you something, guess what? That's not the truth. So that means they're involved in this. That's why when people were like, you should share this with those people. I'm not. This is the first thing I want to share with you guys. This guy in white and that woman that's next to him, those two people are involved, and they have something to do. Like, they're both related. They're definitely doing it. And I'm going to show you when he shoots that thing. This is why on the thumbnail you'll see, and this is what I want to show you next. This is what I want to show you next. So I'm going to go into this. So this right here, it says a hidden gun. This is from 9 years ago. American company creates lethal weapon in the form of a smartphone. Okay? This is what the dude is using. This is why, and he's got a silencer too. This is why no one understands that he's this dude. All right? So that's that basically. What happens when I close these windows? Telling everybody that it's a high-powered bolt-action rifle. If it was a high-powered rifle, dude, that dude would have had a massive hole in his neck. Massive. Anyone that hunts or anyone that shot anything from a long distance with a big rifle knows what I'm saying. And also, the FBI never tells you the truth. I don't know if you guys know this. The FBI doesn't work for you. Okay? So there's that. 1 second. I'm going to close this window. What happens when I close? That dude right next to the girl. You guys see them, right? Right here. That dude is the one that shoots, and this is the girl that's with him. Now, there's two people here on the actual inside of Charlie's security, and those two people are giving signs to others. And a lot of people think those are the people who shot. Nah, it was this dude right here, and this woman's with him as an accomplice. And you're going to see why when you see the video, okay? So there you go. You already saw it. Now I'm going to share this one. Yeah. Okay. So close that. Share screen. Again, one more time, I'm sorry. And then I'll show you the videos. So I showed you at the beginning this. I don't want to show it again. I want you to understand this. He's shot from this side. This dude is what shoots him. And that's why the hole goes like this and Charlie goes like this. And it's not a high-powered rifle. It's a shot from a close distance. This thing it looks like a phone. But what I'm guessing too, because it's crazy when you see the dude shooting, and I'm going to show you the videos right now. When you see the dude shooting the thing, there's no way a person with just a gun can shoot like so. And by the way, he misses at first. There's no way a person that's there can just aim without looking through anything and just like get it perfectly done. I'm pretty sure that phone has a screen that is showing where exactly to shoot. So the bullet came, again, this woman and this guy. These are the two people giving the signs. The ones that everyone, right here. These are this guy and then the guy next to him and then this guy that's giving his back. These people are giving signs to that person, and you'll see it on the video. This is the person that shoots, and he shoots this way, and the bullet, what you're seeing, it's coming out of his neck. Okay, so I'm going to get into the videos now. I did not monetize this video to make sure that this was not going to get fucked. Now, in here, everyone is using this video to blame these guys and this guy. This guy. Look at him and look at this woman. That's the one that gets this shot done, okay? I'm going to make myself even smaller so that you can see more. I'm going to play it. And
So, do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
puts it down.
Too many.
Then brings it up again. Talks to someone. He gets a signal. He's going to pull out the phone again. And I'm sorry, you're going to have to see this. So it's going to be horrible. There you go. That's your sign. Go again.
Over the last 10 years.
Counting or not counting gang violence. What? You see how he... Did you guys see that? He tried at first and missed. Watch these hands. Violence.
Great.
That's perfect trajectory for the fucking bullet. Fuck, I hate that. Watch him again.
10 years. Counting or not counting gang violence.
Boom, boom, misses. Then he gets him. And you see how he reacts when he gets him too. Like he jumps. When he finally gets him, he jumps. Look at him.
Not counting gang violence.
He missed it. Shot. Instantly. The woman is there to cover exactly that phone, that it's a weapon. Let me share just my face, and here we go. So they're there. Those dudes are making the signs. They're trying to make it look like this is him.
Counting or not counting gang violence.
So the guy right there at the bottom of your screen on the right-hand side is the one that was, they were saying that was the shooter, right? And watch what he does.
It's doing this. It's doing this. Let me remove the screen. I'm just going to play it one more time so you guys see it. She's right there next to him.
You know how many
She's crazy. The woman filming this.
Over the last 10 years.
No one has an idea. Dude's on his phone.
See, he runs over.
Look at how close this woman is. And we don't see. She's behind these bars, just like next to those guys. The guy is somewhere around there with that woman. Somewhere around here. If you guys have footage of this side of the thing, there's the two people that did it together. Remove, putting myself there. And then, did I have another one? No, that's literally it. So there you have it.
So I'm gonna just do this one more time because that was I don't know. I mean the fire, the recoil on that, if it's a pistol, I could see that. But remember, everybody was saying that this was the shooter right here. So
Right there.
let's look at this again. Shannon, it's underneath his arm.
Right there. Right there. Watch the shooter. That's the shooter. Right there.
His shirt went up and everything.
Yep.
Side. I knew it was a side shot. I knew it wasn't straight on.
Right there. Right there. Watch the shooter. That's the shooter.
That's the
right there.
That's the that's enough of that. So that is the angles from up close, and I guess there's a possibility that when you shoot from 200 yards and you hit the plate carrier, which we're going to get into next, hit the plate carrier and then it goes into your neck, that might slow it down to where it doesn't blow out the back of your neck. I get that. Now, if it was a straight shot at 200 yards, guy's probably right about that. It'd probably come out big because it's supposed to be a 30-06 or 30-06 deer rifle with scope. That's what they're saying. At least that's what the FBI is saying that they found in the woods and all that stuff. Which all that stuff we're going to get into right now. But I just wanted you to see this is what they're talking about on the internet, right? And I'm like, I spent a bunch of time looking at all the angles of this, and if they have some kind of a zip gun like the cell phone gun and they shoot, but they never said that. I mean, because what do they do when they have a shooting? They look at the trajectory of the shot. Which way did it go? Where did it come out? Where's the lead? Where that's what they do. That's how they do these when there's a shooting. They look at where it came from, right? And if they're like, well, where's the spent casing? Where's the bullet? Where did it get lodged at? Is it all these different things? No, they've always just said nope. It was the guy on the roof. Boom. Now, and we know how this works. When we go back to Butler, they said that dude up on the roof in Butler took 8 shots, right? But his gun was 30 feet away from him. So, I mean, it's just, they just lie to us. So we have to do this. I mean, it'd be great if we could just go, oh yeah, this is it. This is exactly what it is. But they're not giving us that information. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's those angles from up close. The shooter by the way, I think the dude on the right-hand side is one of Charlie's staff, one of his bodyguards that keeps people from jumping the fence and running up on Charlie. I think he's one of them, the guy in the back with the all black, doing the hand gestures. He's supposed to be his main security. So, there's some questions about why is he giving those kind of signals, all that stuff. I mean, this might be getting deep into conspiracies and stuff, and I don't want to do that, but I just want to give you the angles of all the angles that I've found for that part. Okay, so all right, so we're going to get into this now. We're going to get a couple. We're going to back off for a second and get a couple messages. There's a message from Bannon and stuff like that, and then we'll get back into it. We're going to because I think it's important that we get now that we got past the conspiracy type stuff, because that's all stuff that is like questionable. Is it possible? Yeah. Feasible? No. I mean, all that stuff. So we got that out of the way. So want to cover Dale Comstock and Dallas Armstrong both were on InfoWars the day after Charlie was shot, and they talk about some stuff. And if you could just take a deep breath. For some people, this is very tough. I mean, I had a hard time doing this, especially the first day, because this is like, there hasn't been an assassination on live TV since Kennedy, right? Like on live TV. Like, yeah, there was when Reagan got shot, yeah, but you didn't see it. This is like live. This is what they were trying to do with Trump. You know that, right? And they came out today. They're talking about, oh yeah, this follows the same thing as Trump's fake shooting, and blah blah blah. That was a fake shooting, and look, this is fake, and Charlie's not dead. All these conspiracies are just going rampant on the internet, right? And it's like, I'm not going to get into that. That's a rabbit hole I'm not ready for. If it starts becoming something, then we'll do it. But right now, I want to respect the fact that a very good Christian man got killed, assassinated on network news, network TV. So let's just stay. I'm going to just stay in my lane here. I think it's important. Though we're going to listen to what Armstrong says, because he's the person with the longest recorded sniper shot in history, 2 miles or something. So listen to what he has to say. I have so many clips, it takes me a second because I have a ton of clips. I'm doing my best to stay within the. Okay, stand by.
When I first saw it, in the day, I mean, we've only had a day, I guess, but again, there's so many questions to be answered. I did a post about this just because I got a lot of questions asking me if this is a professional sniper, a trained assassin, a professional, whatever that means. And there's no way to know that. The only thing I can say is that it wouldn't have to be. Do you know what I mean? From that distance and that type of shot to take it, you could teach someone that in an afternoon if you have any experience with guns whatsoever.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if I was looking for snipers, I'd look straight ahead at the point. It's like straight on. Everybody sees it. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of the tactics, you don't need to be a professional. I mean, maybe to get out quickly, but even in that circumstance, there's so many people around, and to blend into a population, if you can get out of there fast, it would be tough to catch someone right away and all the mayhem that's happening. So I just don't think it necessarily needs to be a professional to have done something like this. I'm not saying it isn't, but it at least it's open-ended in my opinion.
So that's an open-ended one. Let's okay. So just stand by. Let's get this out of the way here.
So many unanswered questions, and I do not understand why law enforcement did not step up to the microphone and give some details. Some details instead of glazing each other about this partnership and we're all great. We did a great job. Correct me if I'm wrong. We watched the 9-minute press conference yesterday, and the pictures that came up and went all over the internet. And it appears the kid had said something to the family. The family had just confronted him, and the family turned him in. I'm not seeing the great law enforcement work, and I'm not, saying there's not great law enforcement. They all came together. I got that. But this was not through law enforcement work. There's actually a report out there that maybe the FBI have been tipped off about somebody up on the roof, during the week. I don't know if that's accurate. We're trying to check it out. But we don't need a governor, a political figure, to step up. A governor is also known to be, I think, particularly obnoxious. Remember, he's totally woke. He was all into the transgender thing. This guy's completely woke. We don't need a governor to step up and give us basically a political pep talk and a rally, and let's just all come together. When you have an Antifa, you get details in here about the theme song for Antifa on the bullet. You got the symbology that Antifa uses all the time. You clearly have a young, progressive, left-wing hater that assassinated Charlie Kirk in cold blood. What I want to see is some law enforcement people step up to the microphone, give some details, and take some questions from the media. I don't know why Cash flew out there, thousands of miles to give us, hey, working partnerships and our great partnership in Utah. Okay, I got that. No offense to the law enforcement guys in the future of this. The public assumes that you're working together as partnerships. There's certain assumptions when you walk to the microphone of information. We don't need time and time and time again. I tell my team, when these press conferences are scheduled, I don't know if I need to be for the first 10 minutes because it's just going to be some all group thing about how great we are. Charlie Kirk was assassinated in cold blood by a left-wing Antifa affiliated or Antifa-aligned person. Okay? We want to find out about him. We want more details about him. And correct me if I'm wrong, Matt Bowles here, and we're going to get Poso by phone. In the Discord channel, the guy said there's nobody, we're not looking for anybody, there's nobody here. I think he's got at least one accessory, maybe the roommate. I mean, who is in the Discord channel? They're talking about the gun and retrieving the gun. I would assume that person has some knowledge of a crime and has some knowledge of a crime right immediately after the shot was fired. And I don't remember, no one's come forward and said that guy came forward and said, hey, I think my roommate just shot Charlie Kirk. This is why people get so frustrated. And no, Governor, no. We're not going to have a group hug and sit down with Democrats. They are targeting conservatives. They're targeting leaders. Charlie Kirk's not replaceable. The group of Turning Point with Tyler and Andrew and the other great team that Charlie's built, they will go on and they're going to do great things and probably greater things they've done before. But a Charlie Kirk's like an Andrew Breitbart. These individuals come along once a generation, right? They're not everyday people. And they targeted this guy. They targeted him. The family said right there, Matt Boyle. And look, I'm just sick and tired of law enforcement with all the resources we put into it to come up and say, we're working in partnerships, we're great, we're communicating. The public assumes that is happening. We should get to the chase, cut to the chase, and give the public content about exactly what happened, the timeline of how the guy turned himself in, about the family, about more details, and about accessories to the crime in the Discord channel, and go into and have a governor up there that has no earthly idea about Antifa. Doesn't want to matter. We had the FBI director. Could we not get up there and talk about what this symbology means? Because the left is not going to get off the hook on this. All these reports coming. What do you mean we're a war banner? What are you talking about this? They assassinated Charlie Kirk in cold blood in a targeted exercise that took planning. And now we're going to sit here and let's have some groups. Let's get together and have a group hug. They take out Charlie Kirk and let's just sit down and have a group hug. Let's have Antifa over for a barbecue this afternoon. How about that? Antifa, can you Charlie, the gentlest and nicest individual in this political world, who would sit there with a microphone and say, I can convince you through ideas. I can convince you through the force of my argument. Not violence and anything. He was the happy warrior. That's who they took out. Who could be more accommodating than Charlie Kirk? Who could be nicer than Charlie Kirk? Who could be more accessible than Charlie Kirk? That's why they murdered him. In cold blood, assassination. And this was an execution. And now you get the symbology of this. And we're just going to have this press conference and, okay, fine. And, let's go. It's time to us to bring the unity together. No, they always want the unity after they do something horrific. Well, they ain't getting unity. And there shouldn't be unity. We should get answers on this to drill down with people that know it and present to the public exactly what his affiliations were, who he talked to, and round up the accessories. And now more than ever, I don't know why we're not putting down Antifa, at least, at minimum.
And let me tell you something I've not shared with anybody, but the last message that Charlie Kirk gave to me before he joined his creator in heaven was he said that we have to dismantle and take on the radical left organizations in this country that are fomenting violence. That was the last message that he sent me before that assassin stole him from all of us. And we are going to do that under President Trump's leadership. I don't care how. It could be a RICO charge, a conspiracy charge, conspiracy against the United States, insurrection, but we are going to do what it takes to dismantle the organizations and the entities that are fomenting riots, that are doxing, that are trying to inspire terrorism, and that are committing acts of wanton violence. It has to stop. And my message is to all of the domestic terrorists in this country spreading this evil hate, you want us to live in fear? We will not live in fear, but you will live in exile, because the power of law enforcement under President Trump's leadership will be used to find you, will be used to take away your money, take away your power, and if you've broken the law, to take away your freedom, Sean.
All right, so I wanted to get that in there because I think what Bannon's talking about, Stephen Miller as well, but from what I understand is there is a tug of war going on within the party. You got the conservatives or the populists or, whatever, the MAGA, that want action from all these things. I mean, you just, fill in the blank. I mean, there's so many things that just hasn't been that, just nothing's been done. We know Obama, all the shit that he's done, all those Brennan, Clapper, all those fuckhead, all that stuff. We know. All that stuff needs to be dealt with. Now we have this thing to add to it. And this is cold-blooded murder, live on TV. And it's really shook people. Now, what we need to do is we need to think ahead. We need to think about what our plan is moving forward. Because, we can change policy. We can do all that stuff. But the liberals, the liberals are crazy. You see how they're acting. Let me show you what happened the day that Charlie got killed. And I cut this down to 3 minutes, but it was 10 minutes long compilation of all these crazies cheering that Charlie Kirk got killed. Literally cheering that a human life was taken. Because listen, we're not dealing with the Democrats. We're not dealing with the what were they called? Back in the hippie days, we had protests and stuff like that, and it wasn't like it is today. There was two sides. We got along when politics. We put politics away and had a barbecue. They are crazy. They want us all dead. I want you to hear that. They want, the elite wants civil war. The deep state wants nuclear war. I mean, but just hold on a second. Check this out. This is what we're dealing with right here. This is the kind of shit that we're dealing with. Okay? Stand by.
Please let the rumors be true. Let the gossip be reality. Please. So on behalf of everybody else, I got this shit.
Fucking stoked right now. You wanna know why I'm so fucking stoked? Go ahead and Google Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk was a fucking Nazi. He was a fucking Nazi. And you know what kind of Nazi is the best Nazi? A dead one.
I'm not saying she deserved it, but I'm saying God's timing is always right.
And goodness knows.
You support Charlie Kirk shooter?
Sure do. He does all a favor.
Would you shoot somebody like Charlie Kirk?
I would have killed him myself.
Conservatives have been disgusting for years, which is why I don't give a fuck about anybody that winds up at any of these rallies and gets shot or whatever the fuck.
Charlie Kirk, he wants to be pew pew. That's why he fights so hard.
We got Charlie in the neck. Who's up next?
I just watched a close-up video of Charlie Kirk getting pewed in the neck. No fucking way he survives. So you know what time it is. They got him in the neck. They got him in the neck. Shit went like a fucking samurai film. Oh!
He was shot because our co-workers of color are being incarcerated and sent back to their country for no reason.
Well, I just saw the video of Charlie Kirk getting his box boomed. I mean, boomed, bitch, like gone. I have no issue with it.
Hey, so Charlie Kirk just got shot. Maybe there are good guys with guns out there.
Wah, wah. He probably made like thousands of trans kids kill themselves.
Yo, they got Charlie Kirk, bro. I've never been happier.
Yes, he deserves to die, and I hope he burns in hell.
Empathy is dangerous to society, so no one should give a fuck that he's dead.
Seems somebody just took a shot at one of the Fantafast's favorite 5-mile-wide mouthpieces, Charles Chucklefuck Kirk.
Gather around, bitches. Let's all join hands and bow our heads in thoughts and prayers for Charlie Kirk.
I don't have to sweeten my delivery to make it work for Todd.
I can't keep going. It drives me fucking crazy. So this is what we're dealing with. And all these people are a bunch of lames. they go out there and they protest and they burn shit down and they act all crazy and they do all that stuff. They're all probably sleeping in mom's basement. None of them have a job. They got, the purple hair, green hair, all that stuff. Brainwashed, liberal. Well, they're not even liberals. They're just leftist, brainwashed, leftist, psychopaths. Probably all on SSRIs, and it's just what we're dealing with, right? Now, when you take away the crazy part of it, then you have all these, did you see what happened? I showed that first clip that I played. They had a moment of silence in the house, and they just erupted in like yelling and screaming, and we're not doing that. Like a person died, right? And this is the kind of shit that I just don't understand. I just don't. I don't get it. Like, what happened? What happened to our country to the point to where people used to be normal people act like this? Like, I don't know how they're not in jail. I don't know. I guess free speech, right? But I mean, when you threaten somebody's life, it should be, I can't threaten nobody's life. If I threaten somebody's life, I'll be at my door in 5 minutes. That's just how it goes. But because they're leftist, brainwashed wackos, they can say whatever they want, do whatever they want, burn down houses, neighborhoods, bash cars in, all this stuff that they do, shut down freeways, all that stuff, right? They're, all these Antifa types, right? It just, it gets, it's so bad. And, you see what it looks like. Anybody that wants to be a part of that must be something wrong with them. That's just my opinion. I know everybody has their own opinion, So, I always thought Theo Vaughn was a liberal or lefty or something. But listen to what he has to say. We're going to get back into I have a couple more angles of the shooter, some pretty good takes of the shooter that they have in custody. We're going to get to it in a minute, and then we're going to do the remembrance of Charlie Kirk. But before we wrap up here shortly, but I just want to just check this out. This is another very heartfelt, message.
I think something about that makes me sick. That's what it is. I think it's made me feel sick. And I think there's other stuff, like feeling like there's like, it feels like some people in the world, like some like dark and powerful people know what's going on and they're not telling the rest of us. I think that feels like what's happening sometimes. And I don't know if I'm the only person that's feeling that. I feel like they all know something that's happening. It always feels like there's something bigger and eviler in the distance hiding behind something that's kind of laughing a little. And yeah, and this just felt like the pinnacle of the horn of whatever creature that is, kind of. Or yeah, I don't know, something like that. Yeah, and I think it's scary. It's like, yeah, it's like where is safe? Where is safe? Where is safe? How is like a dad or parents who send their kids to school supposed to feel like they're in a safe place? It used to feel like things were safe. Or maybe it never, I don't know, maybe it never felt like that. But I don't know, it used to feel like things were safe somehow.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. What happened to safe? And we're going to get to some clips that's going to, it's going to like, for those of you that aren't, that don't really get it, you're going to go, oh yeah, maybe I should be paying attention to that. But I have children. I have young children, and I have a daughter that's 33. I mean, and it's just not safe out there right now for anybody. Matter of fact, my daughter says to me recently, she was like, I don't talk about politics because people are too crazy out there. What happened? When did that happen to where I know it's been the last, I know when it happened and I know how it happened. It happened in Obama with the racism and the separation and the putting a wedge between parties and all that stuff, and then the Russia collusion where they said that Trump was Russian colluded with Russia and all that stuff. It created this, and this is what they do: they stir this shit up, and they make this thing out to be what it's not. They run it across the media. Smith Mount Act needs to be reenacted for sure, but they do all this stuff every day on the news. I'm in a red area, so I don't really get it. Like if I, in the morning, maybe my wife will turn on the local news. We don't really get that. We don't really get the like MSNBC or CNN or whatever. We don't really get that here because we're kind of in a conservative area. But this is a problem that we have. We have a problem in our society where people are just angry. They're and we use terms like, oh, they're just brainwashed. We just need them to come around. No, they're going to come around eventually. Do you see what's going on? Like Charlie Kirk is out there. Really, what he's doing is he's like the biggest threat because for years and years and years, college campuses they were brainwashing our kids into this liberalism, or they call it liberalism, but really it's like leftist, uh, you know, um, ideology, right? And they've been doing it for years. And then Charlie Kirk started going to colleges and having debates with these kids or these young men or women, and you see how they are. They make all this stuff up that Charlie's a racist and fascist and all that stuff. Do all that stuff, right? When it's not true. It's the same thing to Trump. They did it for years. They still do it to Trump. That he's all these things that he's not. But if you just spent 5 minutes with somebody and seen who they were, it's like me. So I text my ex-wife. We share custody of a kid, my older boy. Boom, I send this little message. I was just saying, hey, this is the plan. If you're okay with it, I'll do this. Otherwise, I'll bring him home on whatever. I'll bring him home early or bring him home on time, whatever. But this is what he wants to do. He's like 17. It's like, but he's still under the thumb. And I just was being super calm and nice, and we haven't had an argument in 10, 15 years, but that's not the point. I just was saying something to her, and the way she took it, because I'm masculine, I have a masculine presence. I'm just a man. I'm just a normal man, and she got all weird. And that's what we have. If I say something to somebody, and they're not on my same wavelength, I guess, you know, then I'm a misogynist or whatever. And it's got to end. It's got to stop. It really needs to come to an end because listen, all that we're doing is we're ruining it for our children and our children's children. That's what we're doing. We're ruining it for the next generations. That's what we're doing. And it's very, very sad. That's how I ended up here. By the way, if you're new, please subscribe to the channel, share the information, please. We're going to be doing big things. We're getting into marketing and all this stuff. And we're doing a bunch of stuff to really get the show going, some more hosts and all that stuff. We're working on some really cool stuff. But my point is, my kids, I worry about them going to school, like public school. All my son tells me one day, he says that, there are all these rainbow flags, LGBTQ and these fascist, the hammer, sickle. What is that, Dad? And I attempt to explain it to him, and he's like, "Oh, wow, yeah." I go, "Let me guess. Your teacher's got like purple hair or something." So, yeah, it's green. Yeah, you don't even have to see them. You already know who they are. It's just crazy. It's got to end. It's just got to come to an end. I'm getting off the topic. I want to get back on topic here, but we have to do something about it for our children and our children's children. We have to be the ones. And my point was, I lost my train of thought for a second. Back in 2020, when I seen what was going on, I seen what they were doing to us, all of us. I knew that I needed to do something about it. And so that's why the show's here. That's why I started this, what was a podcast, and, we're doing, an hour show, and we're, all that stuff. And now we've turned it into this bigger, platform, which is growing. And I'm really grateful for all of you, but it was because I needed to have, one, an outlet, and two, to get my message of what I've learned through this whole process, because I was never into politics, because I just thought it was so important that I had a voice. And you should too. You should have a podcast. You should do anything, do something, change minds, be like Charlie Kirk. Prove me wrong, cost him his life, but, prove him wrong. Right. So just horrible. It's just horrible. The transgender stuff, and the what's it called, the brainwashing of the kids, and the grooming, and the pedophile time and all that bullshit. It's just it's just got to end. It's got to come to an end. It's got to stop. And that's just one little thing, but it's our children. And then you got the wars and all that stuff too. I mean, we're in trouble if we don't do something about it. We need to do something about it. That's why I'm here. All right. So got a couple things here. I want to play this Dale Comstock, and then we're going to get into the other side of the shooting from a different angle. But let's do this first. I think it's important. Get this out of the way. Stand by.
PsyOps operation for sure. And, these people on the top, the ones that you described, they know what they're doing. And, they're the puppeteers. And what they're doing is manipulating what I'll call the dumb masses on the left. And through their rhetoric, the reality is, and I'll quote Elon Musk. He said, you can buy an education, but you can't buy intelligence. There's a lot of smart people out there saying some really dumb things. And, and it's brainwashing, as finest. This is not a new phenomenon. I mean, Hitler was really good at it. When it came to brainwashing the dumb masses, he had to really believe in the Jews were the bad ones, and they killed a whole lot of people. This is where we're at. And, it is a PSYOPs operation. They are doing this on purpose. They keep repeating the lies, and they know if they keep repeating it, eventually it'll take hold, and people will start to believe it. And no amount of information, no amount of facts will change people's minds. There's all kinds of psychological terminology for this phenomena, but it's a thing. And so a lot of people have been brainwashed, and I was talking to some people over here. There's no going back. I don't think we're going to be able to fix this. God bless Trump, and I hope he can. I hope he can. And but I think this is bigger than him. And I don't know how this is going to end, but I don't think it's going to end well. And and I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this boldly. It's probably going to piss a lot of people off, but I'm entitled to my opinion. And the rhetoric has got to stop on the right. We're not talking is not working anymore. Okay. One of the best, one of the guys that does the best speaking, one of the nicest I mean, really the best ambassador for us was targeted and killed. And all he did was want to talk. That's it. He didn't call for violence. He said, let's just have peaceful conversations and let's just table some ideas, you know? And he was killed for that. The left has no intention of talking. And now they've turned their guns on, you know, private citizens, you know, good people, and they're going down that path. And I think my personal opinion is the right needs to stop talking to them and stop, you know, waging a war of words, because we're not going to change their mind.
So hard to watch the end of that video. It's hard to watch. It's crazy. Yeah. So the Democrats or leftists or whatever you want to call them, they're done talking. It's clear they want us all dead. I mentioned it earlier. They want us all dead. It's just sad. It's so sad. This whole thing, and what he's talking about is like later on in that interview, he talks about forming militias. You know what I mean? Because you have to protect yourself. And you should be doing stuff like knowing who your neighbors are and getting them on board in case something happens. Because remember what happened in 2020? They were going down streets and you know and causing violent acts in the streets of our neighborhoods, burning American flags off of people's houses. Do you remember that? Like that's coming back. It's already started. They have this whole campaign going right now where they're doing it, and they're doing it in places like Chicago. That's why Trump's there. You know what I mean? They did it. Los Angeles, Oregon. They've turned Portland into you know, whatever the hell they call it, Chaz, or you know, I guess that was Seattle, but you know, they've turned these areas into Antifa. Uh, um uh, what is it called? Neighborhoods, whatever they call it. They have a name for it. I can't think of what it is. But we have to do something about it. That's what I'm going to say. All right, let's do this. I have a couple more things I want to get to. Before I do the Carl Seraphin thing, did you know that? So the day after the day that Charlie got shot, killed, murdered, um, there's a special investigator for O'Keefe Media Group talking to FEMA section chief, and he's talking about yay, not yay, but yay that Charlie got killed. Listen to this bullshit. These people are crazy, man. These people, you know what? This is what's going to happen though. When they die, they're going to go to hell. They're not going to go to heaven. They're going to go to hell. And they probably want to go there. I know where I'm going. God's got a place for me, right? Because I have the Holy Spirit. I'm a born again Christian. I believe in, raising my kids right. I do right by other people. I have a good conscience. I help others. I do all the things that we're supposed to do. It's kind of like that thing, what would Jesus do, right? But anyway, check this out. It's a short
Have you
clip.
spoken to anybody about the great Charlie Kirk assassination? It's also like it's tough not to laugh at this stuff. You know what I mean? Like he's a lunatic and like awful and kind of deserves it in his own way.
So, how does FEMA feel about Charlie Kirk getting shot?
Everybody's kind of laugh. I don't know. I mean, the people that are in charge of this place are like dipshits now.
Fox News reported that FEMA has put an official on leave from their department who stated online that Charlie Kirk was a racist, homophobic misogynist. Now, O'Keefe Media has a new expose on another FEMA official, and what he says about Charlie Kirk shocks the conscience.
I mean, listen, Charlie Kirk getting shot is crazy. Did you know who that was beforehand? The Charlie Kirk guy that just did? He's a nut. He's awful.
On the night of Charlie Kirk's death, one of our journalists met with a section chief within FEMA named Sean C. Kelly for dinner in D.C. Sean Kelly works in USERA. There's a lot of acronyms in the federal government. That's the Uniformed Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act section of FEMA. We didn't know that existed. In that section, they protect military reserve personnel to make sure they're taken care of during deployment for FEMA. In the first couple minutes of that meeting, the FEMA section chief started to indulge immediately about the murder of Kirk and said into the hidden camera that Charlie, quote, deserves it in his own way. And it's, quote, tough not to laugh at this stuff.
Have you spoken to anybody about the great Charlie Kirk assassination?
No,
Yeah.
just my friends.
I mean, it's tough not to laugh at this stuff. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, political violence is not fun. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
just how fucking, what he's a lunatic and awful and kind of deserves it in his own way. If you disagree, that's totally fine.
No.
Great meme. What's not to love? Yeah,
Mhm.
I am become meme. All that sort of shit.
The official at FEMA was asked how the entire FEMA department felt about Charlie Kirk, and he stated in his own words, quote, everybody's kind of laughing.
So how does FEMA feel about Charlie Kirk getting shot?
Everybody's kind of laugh. I don't know. I mean, the people that are in charge of this place are dipshits. Now, I don't know how the actual leadership feels, but the rank and file are, I don't know, not concerned. I don't know. It's very strange. I don't know. There's not I don't think there's a ton of empathy for the guy.
When the meeting was over, Mr. Kelly from FEMA didn't stop. He was continuing to send pro-assassination memes of Kirk to our journalist on text messages that you can see here. During the ending of this meeting, we also learned the section chief anonymously signed an opposition letter against the Trump administration. You may remember this letter from last month, where FEMA employees signed a letter opposing the current admin. In this letter, you see there are named FEMA employees and anonymous FEMA messages. Our subject happened to be one of those anonymously listed employees.
So they're trying to get away with FEMA. Is there any way to stop them or to
From getting rid of
resist?
FEMA?
Yeah.
To resist?
Or to resist
a
Trump
couple.
administration.
Yeah, we're trying. I don't know. My buddy actually just got put on admin leave because there was an open letter that I signed, but I did it anonymously, that went to the New York Times about the lack of preparedness, getting rid of any sort of all the normal run-of-the-mill shit about getting rid of DEI, which is not a solution in and of itself, but is still critical, getting rid of resilience programs. And he got put on admin leave because he signed it publicly.
Wait, you signed the letter? But
I signed the letter, but I signed it anonymously.
Anonymously.
It's one of the, because
But he signed it publicly.
he signed it publicly, yeah.
Hello?
Hey there, this is Raider, journalist with O'Keefe Media Group. I have you on hidden camera talking about the death of Charlie Kirk. You were saying it's tough not to laugh at this stuff. You're also saying everyone's kind of laughing at FEMA about the murder of Charlie Kirk. I wanted to get your comment on your quotes.
I'm unfamiliar with this, but have a good day.
Oh, well, the video will be coming.
Our tip lines are open. Our signal lines, our DMs are open. We understand this is an extraordinarily difficult time for all of us here at OMG and all of you out there. We are absolutely devastated and heartbroken, and we're trying to keep it together. And we intend to continue our journalism, and I intend to keep being on the front lines of this battle between good and evil. Contact us at Signal at 914-491-9395. That's 914-491-9395. DM us or send us an email, tips@o'keefemediagroup.com. We are going to expose evil. Stay tuned.
Yeah, that's a great report. But you see, this is what we're dealing with. The federal government's full of these deep staters that just hate. They just hate. They hate anybody that's conservative or populist or anything besides. And it never was like this, or at least I didn't know it was like this, and most people didn't know it was like this. But now it's very clear that it's full of people like this. And I've talked to a lot of people that's even in state government and state, and they said they can't talk about anything because they just got to kind of go with whatever's going on, or they get chastised from the people, the rank and file. So that's kind of everywhere. It's kind of going around, right? But anyway. All right, so I wanted to cover, the Seraphim. Let's cover the other side of this. So, what they're saying is this kid hobbled into the college with a rifle in his pants, with a scope, which makes no sense. He must have put the scope on when he got there because you kind of can't, it kind of won't fit, right? But this big ass rifle, you know, however that happened, and then went up there and took the shot, and then was carried the rifle off. But the to me, I'm not a professional. I'm not a forensic specialist or any of that stuff. So it's possible. I don't know that, but the bag seems very light or very flimsy to have a rifle in it. But what do I know? It looks like he's carrying something off the building. It's very clear that he's not a professional if he's the shooter, right? Because at this point, we don't know because we don't know anything because they don't tell us anything. They're not about to start. So check this out.
The guy may have smuggled in fact, the probable cause statement seems to indicate, they don't say it explicitly, but it seems like he smuggled a rifle in on his right leg with a very uncomfortable and awkward limp. And that was shown through footage. We haven't seen all the footage they have yet, so they obviously haven't released all that. And then after the shot, he goes sprinting across the whole rooftop. And when you're watching the video released by the FBI, it goes from left to right. Then he comes towards the foreground. And as he gets to the foreground, he goes to this spot where he drops down. And what you can see is he's manipulating some sort of larger object, which looks kind of floppy to people. But that would make sense if you had a rifle that was wrapped up in a dark towel, which is what the statement describes, and it says what they found out in the woods. It also looks like the package that he's carrying hits the ground pretty aggressively, and this loop is pretty telling if you guys have it on a big enough screen. My guess is that it probably landed butt first on the rifle, which was supposedly described as a Mauser and a Mauser 98 model. Now, here's the rifle, right? So look at a couple things on here. Chase, I want you to eyeball it. Look at where the scope position is, and look where the rings are. You'll see that the front ring is actually offset and it's a little bit over the top of where the breech is, where you would have just above the chamber. It looks like it lost some ground. And then you'll also notice that front ring is right up against what's called the bell where the objective lens is. You're going to see that the turret, which is the rear part, where you actually adjust the windage and the elevation and you might change the focal point, that's also snugged up against a ring. So you've got a rifle scope that is not actually set the way that you'd want to fire it. And it's actually it's set too far back. So you'd lose what's called eye relief. So people who are rifle shooters look at this instantly and go, did this guy have a black eye after he shot it? Because 30-06 has decent recoil.
But the fall.
And the second piece of it, the fall looks like it would have offset this. Now, most people don't actually torque their scope rings, especially if they're cheaper scope rings, down to the specs that are required by the manufacturer. And most of them aren't made to make a 15-foot drop all the way to the ground like this. So if you did that, it's pretty reasonable to assume that you could both offset the front ring and you could actually have both rings be the stopping point for a scope that was still traveling backwards because of inertia. So I'm going to just explain that. The second thing is that box. That box is not the way they found it. Whenever you collect evidence in law enforcement, you generally have a series of photographs for every piece of evidence. And the first one is usually called an establishing shot, or it's a general wide angle room shot. In the case of this, they would have had one that showed maybe the bush and the trees and the area that it was in, some sort of reference point, like a footpath or something, so you could get oriented to where you were going. Then you'd have a close-up of it. And then you would actually have it once it was taken into evidence. And that's what you're seeing right here, because this is an evidence box. This is how you box up a rifle when you want to put it into evidence. I also found it interesting. The initial leaks that we heard about this had to do with what was written on the shell casings. Now, we haven't seen these, but they've been described to us. So one of them says notices bulge or notices his bulge, and then OWO, which I'm told is sort of like a cat whisker type thing. And that can mean any number of things, but it's kind of like internet nerdiness stuff as far as I can tell. The other one, hey, fascist. Another one with arrows, which seem to be kind of a fascist thing. And then the
those arrows are a game code. It was like right up, down, and it's from the game Hellraiser. Which, if you do that pattern on the controller, Helldivers. If you do that code, it nukes everything.
Got it. All right. Well, you can tell that the last time I did one of those, it was the Contra code to get unlimited lives. So mine was like up, down, left, right, A, B. That's the last time I cared about game code. But you also hear some stuff about some Antifa type things, specifically this sort of Bella Ciao song, and writing that on there. So anyway, we got some information early on from Louder with Crowder. They seem to have been kind of squared away on that. That was what the ATF had done. Now, whether it was transgender ideology or whether it was specifically anti-fascist, the anti-fascist part seems to line up a little bit more likely. There may be some additional things that we find out later that he was actually involved in some other groups. I've had some people kind of sending me some background information that it may have to do with some sort of Stalinist group, neo-Stalinist online. So clearly had an active online life. That'll be something that'll be traced down in the next couple of days. But the initial impression is essentially, what was said over the last 2 days seems to be correct. It also sounds like they got him into custody around 10 p.m. last night, and that they booked him into the jail around 2 a.m. this morning, early this morning. So all of that, none of that requires a conspiracy.
Yeah, so none of that really requires a conspiracy. There's all kinds of them, though. We've seen this, but now he's an FBI agent. He was a paramedic before that. The whole interview's on Infowars from the 11th, I believe it is. I'd go check it out. You can get it on band.video under under the Alex Jones Show page. There's a bunch of pages. You can get the full interview there. But pretty interesting. Now, Alex Jones went to D.C. yesterday, or this Friday, and had some meetings there with. He had a couple meetings there. I'm going to play both these clips. Information is key, right? We need all the information we can get. But what he's saying is indictments are coming. Like, he's saying that it's coming. So let's do this one first. Stand by.
Well, it's Friday evening here in Washington, D.C., and just had some very important meetings today. One of them was with Ed Martin, the Government Weaponization Task Force leader, also the pardon lawyer and other things. And it was very, very productive, and we're very, very thankful to him and his dedication to this country and his staff to fight the globalist deep state. And I can tell you they are fighting hard for this country, and a lot of serious things are going on. And I'm just very, very blessed and honored to be able to contribute any way I can the important work that they're doing to take on the Democrat Party and the globalists and the corruption inside of agencies that have been weaponized against American citizens like you and I, President Trump, and of course what we just saw with Charlie Kirk. That's all Democrat Party, Soros generated and created. But I just wanted to point out that Trump also came out and said, yeah, Soros is being investigated for racketeering, and that is for funding the Antifa groups and the NGOs that are doing this. Soros' son, Alexander, got caught 10 years ago. We got the document from one of the Antifa leaders' brothers who got in his apartment when he was in jail. He was asked to go there and saw the Antifa command documents and how he was a manager and how they had to follow the orders and only go so far with the violence and the tactical groups and how to stir up black people to attack. But I can tell you the big news I'm going to give you is this. And this was from other sources here in D.C., and a lot of this is confirmable just by the news. Trump's health overall is good for 79. It's been a hoax that he was about to die. I said he's pushing too hard, working 20 hours a day. And talking to people, they agree. Trump works 20 hours a day on average. A healthy marathon runner at 40 can't do this year after year. I mean, I know I work some days 20 hours a day, and I can't do it more than a couple days in a row. I got at least a 6 hours sleep. And I can tell you, from talking to people close to Trump, the Charlie Kirk thing absolute hit him and Melania. You could see it. They really liked Charlie. He was such a sweet, smart person. He was getting better and better. He was always great, but he was just phenomenal. Got millions of votes for Trump in America. And it really, first time I've been yelled at here, and it's like a mentally ill drone. And so he's unscrewing his coat to get my pouring it on me. So this really got to Trump because he really cared about, Charlie, and it really got to Melania. And Trump didn't sleep Wednesday night and was at the White House all night. I mean, in the Situation Room. I can tell you that from people that saw it. And so he looks drawn. The left's like, look how sad he looks at the memorial stuff. Look how freaked out he is. Yeah, because they tried to kill him in Butler. And he knows they had the same fate designed for him, and he cares about humanity. And so I'm just backing Trump stronger than ever. These guys. Oh yeah, whining about him getting shot. You like Charlie Kirk getting shot? Look at this zombie. This is probably one of the trans goblins. Yep, that's one of them. Notice the guy that thinks he's a girl. He was. I don't know if the tape caught it on. You're whining about that piece of crap getting shot. I mean, this is what we're talking about.
What a loser.
What?
What a loser.
Did you hear him making jokes about Charlie Kirk?
Yes, shameful. Who just got assassinated.
Yeah, he's
whether
like,
it's someone on the left or the right, why would you openly support domestic terrorism? Right?
I don't know if you caught the face, but I mean, it was a trans goblin.
They had a mask on, did they?
Well, I must have pulled it down because I saw the mouth going, like, cruised by, was like, you care about that guy that got shot.
What's your name?
Alex Jones, brother.
Nice to meet you.
Alex Jones has a show.
Yep.
I watch your show.
Well, God bless you. What's your name?
Marina Nelson. We're from Indiana.
Well, I can tell you, Trump's taking it really hard. He's devastated. He hadn't slept pretty much in a couple days, I'm told. So everybody wants to hurt Trump. I guess you did by doing this, Charlie Kirk.
But we have to remember Charlie was a man of God. He didn't get murdered. He got promoted.
That's right.
Fast track promotion.
Yeah.
He's going to pass on the baton. We'll survive.
Yeah.
We will.
The young generation will carry it on.
Did you literally see that goblin creature? Like, it was like a gremlin. I mean, it was a dude with spandex, like a girl. You know, the hair was up, and it was a, God bless you.
Thank you.
Anyways, Trump's taking it really hard, folks. And so am I, because, I mean, we're obviously on the hit list. And this is this ghoul laughing. It's like when they shot Charlie, all these leftists go, yeah, like it was a party, like somebody getting their neck blown out with 30-06 is cute. I mean, even hardcore soldiers, when they got to kill somebody, they don't take pleasure in it. These are deranged, satanic scum. Follow me on the next Real Alex Jones. Pray for Charlie Kirk's family. And just... I'm in D.C. on this Friday evening. The globalist system is in free fall. Their money's being cut off. The EU is trying to start nuclear war with Russia. America is winning. Trump is doing the best job he could. And I can tell you from insiders, he said it for 2 days. He is so upset about Charlie Kirk's murder because he knows they tried to kill him. And he just is so upset that we can't stop these murderous, Democrat-funded, Soros-funded, promoted, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, Islamic terrorists. But it doesn't matter. America understands people on the ground for race, color, and creed. They understand what's going on. This is so historic. But here's what I'm here to tell you. Trump must declare Antifa a terrorist organization. We got documents 10 years ago that Alexander Soros literally runs and commands this. And they run the trans terror groups. They run the Black Lives Matter. They're working with Islamic groups. They're planning a mass uprising under the Podesta plan. And I met with the DOJ today to get to brief them on that. They're fully aware of it. They've got grand juries open. That didn't happen 8 years ago in the first administration. It's happening now. They understand it's an existential battle. And some people in the administration are just milquetoast, they're cowards, whatever. Most of the operatives have been thrown out. But Trump is honing in to get hardcore patriots that will take action. They tried to kill him. They tried to put him in prison. They tried to put me in prison. He knows he's got to do it. He wants indictments more than you do. Think about that. So we, in the information war, exposing the poison shots and backing RFK Jr. and supporting what Homan's doing and finding all the kidnapped kids, which they're starting to do, we've got to understand that it's not just Trump fighting for us. We've got to do it in the information war. We're not white-pilled. We're not delusional. Think everything's fine. And trillion D chess. And Hillary was executed at Gitmo. That's all bullshit. We're also not black-pilled. Oh, God, it's all screwed up. Everything's over. We can't do anything. We have to be engaged. I've been doing this 31 years. Nobody was awake. Maybe 1% back then. Now like half the public is. And they're getting more informed and more involved every day. So we're not black-pilled. We're not white-pilled. We are reality-pilled. We are victory-pilled. We are determined. We are committed. And we're not stopping. A lot of folks are asking, what my meeting was with Ed Martin today, the strike force leader of anti-government weaponization, and the pardon lawyer. Well, I'm not going to talk about what that was about. And I met with some other folks today. But the point is, action is taking place. You didn't see that in the first Trump administration. Trump admitted he was naive, he was conned, he was manipulated then, and didn't understand what was happening. Now he's way more informed, and this is our real shot. We know what Kamala Harris would have done. The country would have already collapsed. We know they went forward with Russia. We know Trump's trying to stop it. So we must have Antifa declared a terrorist organization. Even today, I was just out in front of the hotel, shooting like a 3-minute video about Charlie Kirk and about Trump. And this guy that thinks he's a girl comes in on one of, what do you call those things that spin around? Unicycle. And he swarms around us a few times. You're sad that guy got killed. I'm glad. And he ran out in traffic, almost got hit, came back around a few more times. And I was looking at him, real fast when he swing by like 10 feet away. And I thought, It's like a skeleton face. It was really weird. Once we slowed the video down, I posted on X. He had like a stocking over his face, like a skull face, but he was talking through it. So I was like, he looked like a gremlin. And he was giggling and laughing, looked so psychotic. And if you go to a Democrat rally, it's like a third of them or more look just like that. Antifa now is like 30-40% tranny. And we're talking about guys that think they're girls and wear dresses and stuff. I don't hate those people. I had Blair White on the show, nice person. These are like psychotics, believe they're being suppressed and been access to our kids. They believe that the rulers, and they say they're having their days of rage, and they've got their Antifa supporters, all the rest of it. But the guy that just got turned in by his family shooting Charlie Kirk. So this is so hardcore, folks, and so the DOJ's trying. I've got all the inside baseball, not from Ed Martin, but from others. But you got Cash Patel more interested in PR stuff. You got Bongino that's pissed off about what's going on. They say Bondi's pretty good overall, but it doesn't matter. It's the prosecutors that are going to take action. But it's us in the info war with Kennedy getting the floor out of the water and banning the mRNA shots and firing all the Fauci and Bill Gates people. And they're going totally crazy. We finally have fighters. I mean, Trump got some good Supreme Court people in compared to Democrats the first term and a few other things. But what he's done in 8 months in office compared to the last 4 years is like 10 times what he got done. So this is epic. That's why they're freaking out. That's why they're going to violence. That's why they're flipping out, because they're losing. But we've got to have Antifa declared as a terrorist organization. We've got to expose them. We've got to. It's all there. It's all there because they're planning these armed uprisings. They've said they are to then bring troops out. Then they're going to false flag migrant groups, black churches, I predicted, and traditionally black colleges, which now have shut down, claiming because Charlie Kirk got killed, the white supremacists are going to kill them. Blacks weren't involved in Charlie Kirk being killed. That's the globalists calling it a psyop so they can tell all the black students, oh, we got to close. The whites are coming to kill you. This is so obvious. I predicted it beforehand. So pray for President Trump. He has been taking it easier. I didn't say he was going to die. I didn't say he was even unhealthy. I said he can't work 20 hours a day at 79. He's got to play more golf. He's got to, just work 15 hours a day. And he's doing that. But he was doing great, everybody I know. And then he now is, and so is Melania, really upset because it brings back everything that happened to them. And they loved Charlie. He was such a great guy. They killed him because he was the best. And he got millions of young to go vote. They estimate 2.5 million. And they just promoted killing him. They promoted songs killing him. They said they were going to kill him in the local Post. And they did. And they wound this guy up online. He had handlers they now know, manipulating him in Discord chats to go do this. These people are crazy. They really believe we're Hitler. They really believe they're killing fascists. And it's because they're desperate. So it's such a critical time to be alive. But just look at that amazing Washington Monument, George Washington. And the spirit in D.C. is so much better. All the tents are gone. Talk to the National Guard, their listeners, blacks, Hispanics, Asians, running up, thanking them. People can go to the grocery store. They can whatever. I mean, the curse is being lifted. We can do this together.
Yeah, so that's a message from Alex Jones. So, I tend to believe that something's going to happen finally. I sure hope so, because it's like we've had a lot of fucking horrible stuff happening. So I want to play this this remembrance of Charlie Kirk, and then we're going to be out of here. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you for being here. God bless everybody. I'm going to play this on the way out. We will see you again on Monday night at 8 o'clock.
We're active in about 15 campuses, and we're growing very, very quickly. And keep in mind, this is not just a flash in the pan movement. We're going to become an institution to give them the power and the confidence to stand up and let their voice be heard. I started this organization when I was 18 years old. I decided not to go to college. I didn't get in my dream school, which was the United States Military Academy at West Point. I have this idea to galvanize and motivate the future youth of this country around a core set of ideas, not just political parties or politicians. And the ideas are really America's the greatest country in the history of the world. The Constitution is the greatest political document ever written, and free enterprise is the most assured way to lift people out of poverty and create prosperity for all. Those are the three big ideas. And I think that's something that can win. We as Christians are called to go into the public arena to correct error with truth. So I go to college campuses and there's a lot of error. We're all sinners. We all live in error. I'm far more interested in what God wants of me than what I want from God.
I have to say this without getting emotional, but I'm very proud of my husband. And I know many of you are too. You have worked so hard. And I know a lot of you have seen, obviously, his videos on TikTok and all the stuff he does on campus. But no one gets to see him from my angle except for myself and our children. And the sacrifices that he made this year, he's amazing. I'm very blessed.
And I would not have been able to do any of it without Erica. And that's the real truth. I'll tell you what.
You are here as a grassroots response to the top-down revolution happening in this country. I want our Turning Point USA students to receive a round of applause. These are the freedom fighters of America.
The media said that Turning Point could never run a ground game. They weren't experienced. They didn't know Charlie, right?
This is the greatest generational realignment since Woodstock. This generation is the most conservative generation that we have seen in well over 50 years, and the numbers show it. What young people especially are screaming at is they say, give me a structure that I can live my life by. And especially with young men, more challenging of them, more saying, you know what, honestly, I'm not gonna talk down to you. Stop being a boy and become a man. You wanna learn what that means? Come to church and I'll tell you what it means to become a man. Because we have the greatest story ever told. What can I do to save the country? You answer that question every single day because you are doing the work to save this beautiful republic. You are doing something that is bigger than you.
If everything completely goes away, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith in my life.